How would you feel about lending a close friend, say, $5,000 for a month? First, no, don't do it. Run. Are they willing to sign a promissory note and pay interest? Why can't they get it from a bank? Do they have bad credit? If so, why? If the bank won't give it to them, there is probably a good reason. Third, can you afford to never get paid back? Worry about your own finances first. How much is it going to affect you to not have this $5,000 for a month at the very least, and never again at the very worst? $5,000 is a good chunk. It's not realistic to expect it back in 1 month if they have to borrow in the first place. Depends how good of a friend they are. My closest friends share my level of integrity and honor. If they ask, absolutely. A few years ago, I lent my best friend roughly $20,000 when he was struggling. We were roommates at the time, and I covered his rent for nearly 2 years. When his situation improved, he paid me back in several installments. Fast forward a few years, and I lost a ton of money on failed businesses and investments. I asked him if he could loan me $10,000, and he instantly said yes, and wired me $10,000. So if they are close friends, I always say yes. Good friends are hard to find. Real answer: I wouldn't. Nothing breaks up friendships and even relationships faster than money. It taints the entire friendship. Now, he or she needs a catch to crash on, sure, but I'm also dragging his ass to the unemployment office the next day. Their kids are going hungry, uncle is rushing over with some groceries. But if they need money badly enough to go begging from their friends, that's a red flag. Never lend friends money you wouldn't mind just gifting them. I saw my brother get buried in debt trying to support a deadbeat friend. Lesson learned. 2 months ago, my stepdad asked me for $1,500 or so. He had issues with his bank or whatever and didn't want to involve my mom or his boss. I admit it made me a bit uncomfortable in the moment, but I agreed and told him I would lend him the money, and it would be lovely if he could make me an official declaration on paper that he owed me. He instantly said yes, and made the paper, which put me at ease. I have faith in all of my friends, but I think if any were to ask me for that much, I would probably do as I did with stepdad and see their reaction. That's a question that needs more detail. I have 3 friends with whom the 4 of us could loan a few thousand if necessary, and none of us would be worried about it. We're all responsible, trust each other, and have some source of income to eventually pay back the loan. My sister was a year late on a $2,500 I gave her for her house, and part of the problem was her boyfriend, with whom I have less respect for after seeing his use of money. Most people probably wouldn't feel good giving away that much money without pretty extreme circumstances. I loaned a guy I was friends with way back $20 once when we were late teens. I saw him a few years later at a pickup basketball game at a park. I told him he didn't owe me. It was all good. We didn't talk for a while, and a few years later, he got hit by a train. He survived, and I sent him a message to chill. He was down. I didn't respond in time to make it happen. He deactivated the social I was messaging him on, so I never got the chance to hang with him. Hope he is well. Then comment: Tyler, I'm sorry we didn't hang out. Nope. Not even with collateral. Fell out with a friend over their behavior when I was renting them my home. Crutch we didn't know the source of. Bleeding them dry when I let them move out on short notice, and actually being expected to cut the lawn after it was explicitly agreed before the tenancy started. My point is, you can be the most level-headed, explicit, transparent person in a totally reasonable deal, but money makes people weird. The question for me is, would I give my friend $5,000? If it is a loan, there is the expectation of repayment. If that doesn't happen for whatever reason, it can affect, if not destroy, the relationship. In that case, no, I wouldn't lend my friend the money. If I am in the position where I can give it to him and have no effect on me, then absolutely. If he repays me as he states, it helps to secure the good friend relationship and trust more. Loans to family and friends tend to not work out so well. I was fortunate enough to be in the position to let a close friend borrow $6,000 in 2007. He had just finished his bachelor's and was still working a restaurant job while looking for career work. He had a major vehicle repair come up, It took him more than a month to pay me back. More like 8 months. But he did pay me back. We are still close friends. I also let a friend borrow $350. Zero, and then never hear from them again. Let people borrow money. They'll leave you alone, Tim Wilson. I would gladly lend them money to a friend because it's the best test to see if they are a friend or not. But I wouldn't lend huge amounts to anyone except a family member. Last I lended money to a friend, it was €300. And it took him over a year to pay it back. And he could have easily paid it sooner, but didn't feel like it. He tried to prolong paying back in hopes I'd just forget it. In the end, I got €200 back and few bags of cigs, and that's with him getting massive tax returns. I would be upset the friend even asked me. I'm not a darn bank. If I did, criteria must be met. I'm not leading $5,000 unless the friend can show me they have the ability to pay me back $416 a month within a year. I'd have to see bank statements from friend November, December, and January with a gross of $2,800. Also, the friend would have to show at least a 640 credit score. Honestly, the idea of thinking they'll pay you back is unreasonable during times like this. If you can't afford to give it to them without them repaying you right away or ever, then it isn't a good idea. I've seen friendships get ruined for a far lower amount. It can drastically change the relationship dynamic. This may not always be the case if the relationship is strong. People get weird when there are financial obligations involved. $5,000 is a lot of money to most people. I'd ask myself what they need it for, and if they put themselves in the situation. Golden rule: if you ever lend money to family or friends, assume you won't see the money again. Just think of it as a gift, don't say it out loud. If they pay you back, that's a good friend. If they don't and don't have a very good reason for that's the price of figuring out how good of a friend that friend really is. It's also easy for situations to degenerate. I only have like 3 for friends to whom I'd lend money, no questions asked. You don't lend money to friends or family, you must give it as a gift. If a stranger doesn't pay back a loan, you can get upset, cut yourself off from them, take legal action, etc. Friends or family, not so much. If I was in a financial position to do so, and a friend or family member was in need, I would give them the money. If they paid me back, that would be awesome. That as a gift, it's understood that if they don't, it won't color our relationship. I lent a friend $5,000 for a month once. Took 3 years for him to pay me back, and I had to use my line of credit and pay interest because he dragged ass. So basically I lost $5,000 because by the time he paid me back, the interest was as much as he has borrowed. He never paid the interest. Don't lend money. Don't even admit you have it to lend. Not even if they will be homeless. Not even if their kids will be homeless. Never lend money. My dad was a generous, not a great judge of character. He never saw repayment for any loan and lost lifelong friendships over it. You'd be surprised how this stuff shows you a side to people you never expected to see. I learned from his example. I don't ask for loans unless it's through the bank, and I don't give loans because I'm not a bank. I'll give you as much money as I'm comfortable permanently parting with if you're in need. I loaned a mate £500 for rent before. I wrote it off as I was dandy at the time, but not too long after could have used it as shit went south pretty quickly. Sure enough, never saw it again. Parted ways with that friend when they laid into my wife out of the blue. Considering doing it for another mate who's just had a royally shit year and a half. I'm not in the best position to do so, but I tend to help however I can if someone needs it. Lending money to friends is a good way to lose a friend, the money, or likely both. I've done only up to $100, he won't have the payback money. Then excuses: I get paid next Tuesday. I got you until I forget or stop asking. If I kept asking, they got annoyed I lost both law. It's 10,000x less stressful to say no, leave it at that. BC, they're probably asking all their other friends for money too, which most will say no. Very much depends on the friend. Expect them to take longer than a month to pay back, and a few that I just wouldn't do it because they wouldn't pay or they would take a stupidly long time to pay, and then only if I bugged them about it. So it really depends on who is asking. I think if you choose to lend money to friends or family, you have to be comfortable with the possibility that you may never get that money back. Obviously, you hope it will all work out as planned, and both your bank account and friendship will come out the other side intact. But the reality is, you just never know. So only lend the money if you feel comfortable either losing the money or the friendship. I have a personal motto my wife and I live by since we are well off and her sister is broke. Only loan family and friends money. You won't go ballistic if you never see it back. When you loan a friend or family member money, there is a chance you won't get it back. Is that a risk you want to take with this person? Today you have no grudge with them. Are you willing to add a grudge to your relationship? My wife lended her sister and her then husband $2,200 to pay the mortgage once. I knew we would never see that again and was right. I was pissed at the time. But we are very well off and she's now single mom and scraping by. Every so often we send her a few $100 when she needs help paying utilities. Don't mind helping out a family member, but it would be nice to get my $2,200 back. I mean, complex question really. Do they owe Michael Corleone that much and he is about to break some legs? Maybe I do. Is he a gambling addict and has no chance of paying me back? No. Did he get laid off but has a good job prospect and needs it to survive for a minute? Yeah, I do. 5,000 is just enough to make shit awkward, but not enough to be real serious. If you can easily afford that, yes, do it.